Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dion here, and today I am making a video of my coming out story. Now, this is something I haven't really touched on this channel before. I mean, I'm not secretly gay or anything. In general, on the channel, I review TV shows and I cover festivals around my city, and I do the occasional travel blog. So I've never really gotten too personal on the channel. I mean, I have touched base on certain aspects of my life, and I have mentioned it in videos kind of in passing, but I've never really talked about the story of how I came out and what my life has been like since then. So this is a video that I don't really have to do, but I kind of want to do it because I know that there are a lot of kids out there that kind of go on YouTube and they'll, search up coming out stories, and everybody's coming out story is different. Mine will probably be different from yours, but you could be in similar situations that I was in when I was younger. There are a lot of people out there that know that they're gay from a really young age. I wasn't one of them. I realized I was gay in high school. That's when the hormones kick in and you start liking people. Before high school, in elementary school and junior high school, I was bullied a little bit. I had a high-pitched voice and I sounded very feminine, and I was teased a lot, and people would call me gay and I would just deny it because I honestly didn't know. So for me in school, it might not be the same these days, but when I was in school, being gay was very negative. In school, when guys have a little inkling that you might be gay, they sort of just want to get away from you, and you have cooties and, oh, this person must like me. So when I started to question my own sexuality, that was going through my mind the whole time. Everyone's gonna think I'm disgusting, I won't be able to have guy friends. So when I started to question my sexuality, that was the one thing on my mind. Straight guys just automatically create the assumption that because you're gay, you like them, and it's not always the case. Some of y'all might think a little too highly of yourselves. So in high school, when I realized I was gay, I didn't really tell anybody, really. I had online friends that I told, and I think I had told my cousin, but that was it. So when I started seeing somebody, I knew that pretty soon that we were gonna have sex, and for some reason I just was like, maybe I should talk to my dad about this. So I have not seen my father since I was 3 years old, but we had always maintained an online relationship. He lives out in Japan, he has a wife and kids, I have lots of siblings elsewhere. But my dad is online, our relationship is online. Talking to someone online is super easy. You can just say whatever you want and no one has to see your face or your reaction. I don't exactly remember how the conversation went. I think I knew that my dad wouldn't care so much because he, from what I knew of him, was very open-minded in general. So I just told him, and I told him that I was probably gonna end up having sex with this guy, and he just said, the good things, like, I love you, you're my son no matter what, just be safe when you do go down that road. And that was that. I knew he wasn't gonna talk to my mom about it. So to me, coming out to my dad wasn't that big of a deal. It was like coming out to any of my online friends. It was like a bit scary, but not so much that, I was losing sleep over it. However, in the real world, not being out to any of my friends or my family was really, really killing me inside. There were times that I just wanted so desperately to tell my mom or to tell my friends, and I just didn't have the balls to do it. So I kind of just let it be known online, like on my MySpace page, because it was the days of MySpace, and Nexopia, which if you're not Canadian, you probably don't even know what that is. And of course Facebook was just kind of starting out. And on Facebook it's like, interested in men. And I had put that on my profile, hoping, maybe my mom would notice and that would be it. She didn't notice, but her friend did. My mom didn't really pay attention to my Facebook at all. I don't even think she had me on Facebook. I don't even know if she had a Facebook back then. But I had her friend on Facebook, and she saw it and told my mom. And one day I was sitting on my computer, and my profile picture was a bit scandalous for, I think I was 17 at that point, a bit scandalous for a 17-year-old, let's say. And she confronted me about that picture. She basically said something to the effect of, you shouldn't be posting shirtless, against the wall, like trying to be sexy at your age. And then she was like, and second of all, interested in men? And I froze. I couldn't look at her. I was on the verge of tears. That whole conversation is a total blur. I don't remember most of it. I did admit it, like there was no hiding it, like it's on my page. I think I must have just said, yeah. And eventually the conversation led to, my mom crying. I don't think she questioned if it was just a phase. I don't remember. But the one thing that stuck to my mind is that she was crying and she was talking about how she wanted to have grandkids one day. And for a while the conversation was left at that. I did tell her that I told my dad, and I know that my mom and my dad had a conversation about it. My mom and my dad don't really have the best relationship. To be honest, I think he just kind of bragged that I told him first, and I just kind of stay out of their business. I remember telling her that there were times that I wanted to tell her so badly. I think a few months back I had gone with my mom to a Black Eyed Peas concert, and I just wanted to tell her so badly then. I think I even got to the point where I was telling her that, there's things on my mind and I'm not happy, but that's kind of all that was said. I didn't get further than that, and we never really talked about that after. I've never really talked to my mom about how she handled things on her own. I think she did research on her own on a computer, having a gay son, this and that. I'm pretty sure she didn't want me telling my grandmother. She didn't want me telling my grandfather and his family. My grandfather and his family are very religious people. And I never really told her this, but hearing those kind of things, it hurt. I could get where she was coming from. It's an awkward subject for anyone, especially, well, obviously for me, probably for my mom too, so I was just trying to be as understanding as possible. But it hurt, because it's you have to not be yourself with these people. This is our little secret. And, there were a few trips over to my grandfather, because he lives in the next province over, and the question I always got every single time I went there is, do you have a girlfriend yet? And I remember on one of those trips, my grandfather's wife, so my step-grandmother, she had asked me that question again, and my mom in the background just kind of chuckled. And I was just like, nope, I don't know what she had thought. Whether they were starting to question it, I don't know. Back at home, I had started working at an amusement park in my town, and that kind of workplace, there's, a few hundred people working there. And at this job, I really learned to be more social. And so I was making a lot more friends, but I wasn't telling any of them about my sexuality. I had made friends there that I really truly considered my best friends, when I had first started, and I just didn't bring myself to tell them. I don't think we've ever had a real conversation about it with the best friends that I had at the time. They know now, but we've never really talked about it. The more friends that I had made, the more I kind of shoved it back down inside of me. Interested in Men was no longer on my Facebook page, because a few years prior, my mom actually went on to my Facebook page and removed that. And that hurt as well, but I just kind of left it as is and just said nothing more about it, because, I was in scary territory. And I had made a lot of guy friends at this place, and there was one point where I went to a house party, and I ended up locking lips with another guy, and then my sexuality came into question. Not his, though, because he ended up having a girlfriend who is actually my best friend now. Anyway, but my sexuality started to come into question. There were people, gossiping with each other, and that workplace, God love their souls, they were gossip central. They wanted to know everyone's secrets. They were hounding everyone. Not just my secrets, just everyone's secrets in general. It was just that kind of place. And that was terrifying for me. And because of the people that would gossip, it really, really closed me inside of myself for a long time. A little bit later down the line, I ended up becoming friends with someone who was very openly gay at my workplace, and we got close very quickly. He was pretty much my first gay friend, apart from some online ones that I had met in person and that had met some of my coworkers at that point. But my first in-town gay friend. So I hadn't really explored the gay nightlife. I had no one to explore with. I think I had gone to the gay bar maybe 3 times. But anyway, the more I'd hang out with him, the more people would be like, huh, And, I'd always go to the gay bar with him every weekend, and everyone thought we were secretly dating because, two guys, if one's gay, the other must be, and they must be dating because that's how it works. Wasn't true, but that's the assumption that everyone was making. And, I owe a lot to this friend. We did have a falling out for a few years, long after that time. But, I do owe sort of coming into myself a little bit more and opening up to certain people. He wasn't telling my other friends that I was gay, except he did accidentally out me to one of them because he figured I had told her, which, I was kind of like, I don't care, she knows, really. But there were people at my work that I just really, really, really did not want knowing. There were certain people that I worked with that were just so desperately trying to find answers about who I was, and it was terrifying for me. And I would just deny, and just did my best to avoid this guy at all costs. It was a guy. It was actually the brother of the guy that I had locked lips with a couple of years back, but he was just so adamant in trying to find out if I was, and that really would just constantly put me inside of myself. I seriously hated this guy so much because he was like almost the sole reason of why I wasn't coming out, why I was so scared to come out. My friend, my best friend, we were getting closer, and I just wanted her to know so desperately, and I was out with my gay friend and her, and we had gone to McDonald's to, sober up a little bit, and I remember being outside with him and just crying and just being like, I want to tell her so badly, and we ended up going back to my house, and it just came out, and then it just kind of became a known thing, and after that we had really gotten close. After that it was a little bit easier to come out to a lot of the girls that I worked with, because girls, just most of them, they just really, were like, oh cool, this is so awesome. And no offense to any of the girls that I had come out to at the time, but I think a lot of the girls, they automatically have this assumption that, oh cool, he's gay, I can take him shopping with me and he won't care, and things like that. I hate shopping. I don't like to do it. I do it maybe every few months. Getting off topic here though. Eventually, that guy who was pushing me left that workplace, and it still didn't really get easier because there were still a lot of people just assuming that I was dating this guy and not coming to me and confronting me, but just asking all my friends, is he gay? Is he gay? Like, everyone would go to everyone else but would be too afraid to talk to me about it. And I had gotten to a point myself that I was like, if you guys were to ask me, I would probably be honest with you. But no one did, and so I didn't have the guts to just bring it up because it's not like a easy thing to bring up in conversation, So a few months later, me and that friend had a falling out. We stopped being friends. He moved away, and for a long time we were a package deal, and I kind of always had him as like the scapegoat. I could be openly gay as long as he was around to kind of give me that courage. And so I had to really find that courage on my own again and just find out who I was as a person, on my own. It sounds silly because it sounds like a breakup, but he was my best friend for a long time. And it felt like a breakup. It was weird. And so I kind of had to go on a journey to find myself. I ended up going to California for a couple weeks and just clearing my head, and I did clear my head, and I was able to sort of figure out who I was, not just, as a gay man, but just as a person in general. A lot of times I was just kind of following his lead and doing what he wanted to do. He was a clubber and he liked raves, and I just kind of followed, and not that I disliked any of that stuff, but it wasn't all that I was about. So I got to get to know me again, and so after I got back from California and I was able to clear my head, I started to figure out who I was again, and I would go to the bar by myself and make friends at the gay bar. There was people at work I was being more honest to, and the scariest thing for me still was coming out to guys because of my assumption in my head that, every straight guy that a gay man is friends with is going to think that you like them, this and that. And I was a mess still. But a lot of the people that had been in my life before he moved away, had also kind of moved on from that workplace, and they were the factors of why I wasn't out, and there wasn't really guys I was all that close to at my work. Anyway, I was kind of like in a take it or leave it friendship with a lot of them, so I stopped caring, and so now cut to 2014. I had really figured out who I was as a person, and I was getting a lot more comfortable with myself and being open about who I was, but the factor was people still weren't coming to me and asking, and it still wasn't an easy thing to really just bring up on a whim. And basically, in June of that year, which is Pride Month, June, I was like, I've got to get this out somehow and just kind of rip off the Band-Aid. And so I had started to do these Facebook statuses on Facebook. Every day of the month in June, I was going to tell a truth. And I knew, like, right away, like, whatever day the Pride Parade fell on was, like, the day I was going to come out. And so it would just be, like, random truths here and there. Like, truth, if you don't know, I'm really into classical music. Truth, I think that what so-and-so did was not right. Like, just random things. And so Pride Day comes, and I don't remember the exact status, but basically I just came out and was like, if you didn't know, I'm pretty gay. Happy Pride, everyone. And I was with a friend who was visiting in town, and we were going to Pride together. And I've actually told this story on like a sort of mini series that I did last year. But I ended up inside my place of work in pink booty shorts, a rainbow fedora, which actually is right here. It's not really a rainbow, but it has colorful, rainbow colors on it. And I had run into some of my closest friends, and some people actually thought the status was a joke. They thought it was all in good fun. But I was like, no, like, I'm gay. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm cool with it. And it was like the scariest, like both the scariest thing and like the biggest relief of my life to just be open in my place of work and to not have to like tell people anymore. After that day, there was like a huge staff meeting, and like I said, I was working in an amusement park, so that's like 300 people. So I literally had to face all of them and just hope for the best. And I had actually just random like people that I was not really close to like hugging me and be like, oh my god, you're my homosexual hero, and like just congratulating me and being happy for me. So yeah, I mean, like I said, everyone's coming out story is different, and everyone's struggle with their sexuality is different. But what I want you to take away from this video is, if you are in a situation where you are surrounded by people who just sort of live their lives on gossiping about so-and-so and trying to figure out everyone's secrets and this and that, the best thing you can do is to just take that power away from them and be open and honest about who you are. Yes, it's fucking terrifying, and it's a scary thing to sort of do, and I think in that type of scenario, though kind of unique, the best thing to do is sort of rip off the Band-Aid and just put it out there, because it takes away their power. It takes away their power to sort of make you feel like you're doing something wrong by simply being who you are. If you don't care, then they can't care, because they're going to look stupid if they do care if you don't, So that's my advice to you. I mean, obviously you're going to do it when you're good and ready, but just know that what happens after you come out is such an amazing feeling of just being free. It's I've learned in my life, and this doesn't necessarily have to do with being gay or what have you. When you live your life as an open book, there's nothing people can really use against you, and that is a power in itself, and that is something I've learned not just with coming out as a gay man, but just being yourself unapologetically in any aspect. Try your best to fight that fear that you have that is preventing you from living your truth. Just battle it out until you're able to come to terms with it. Whatever happens in your life after you come out to your family and your friends, just know that you're on the right track to being okay with yourself. I think in the long run, that's what matters the most. To be okay with who you are, to be comfortable in your skin. Whoever leaves your life as a result, should that happen, you know, they probably weren't meant to be in your life, and you're probably meant to be on a different road than you thought you were going to be. And that's okay too. You know, it's the journey. It's lifelong, and all I can say is that you just have to enjoy the ride. Feel what you feel. Be yourself. Be unapologetically yourself. And yeah, just live your truth. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to get to know me more in general, hey, subscribe to my channel. I kind of want to open up more about who I am anyway. You know, I started YouTube just as a hobby. I love editing videos, and you know, I'm not a big YouTuber by any means. I do what I do on videos, and whoever wants to subscribe can totally do it. And I thank you for being on that ride with me. I hope this video helped. I feel like I was just rambling the whole time. If you liked it, just gotta say the YouTube stuff, right? Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to. Yeah. Peace out.